people think they understand Taurus. They call them stubborn, predictable, too calm, too material. But psychology tells a very different story. In 2026, something shifts. Not because Taurus changes, but because the truth about Taurus can no longer stay hidden. There are psychological patterns inside Taurus that most people never notice. Patterns tied to memory, emotional control, loyalty, silence, and the way Taurus protects themselves when the world misunderstands them. These aren't surface traits. They live deep in the subconscious, shaping how Taurus loves, how they detach, how they survive betrayal, and why they never react the way people expect. I've spent years studying Taurus behavior, emotional cycles, and psychological responses. And what I've seen is this: Taurus doesn't explode. Taurus remembers. Taurus waits. And Taurus never forgets the lesson. In this video, we're not talking about clichés. We're revealing 20 psychological facts about Taurus in 2026. That few people truly understand, facts that explain why Taurus moves the way they do, and why this year changes how the world sees them. Stay until the end, because the final insight connects everything. Comment if this resonates with you, and let's begin. Psychological fact number 1. Taurus memory is not passive. It's their hidden superpower. Most people forget what hurt them. Taurus doesn't. And in 2026, this becomes a power that quietly changes everything. Taurus isn't obsessed with the past. They are shaped by it. Not the events, but the emotional signatures that came with those events. A conversation that felt off. A moment of silence before a betrayal. A door that slammed too hard. The look in someone's eyes when love started to die. These moments don't just disappear for Taurus. They are recorded, refelt, and restudied in solitude, often for years. In psychological terms, Taurus exhibits emotional encoding, a heightened ability to store emotional experiences deeply within their memory system. But this isn't just sensitivity, it's survival, because Taurus doesn't just remember what happened. They remember what it meant. That's why they seem calm when others panic, why they pause before trusting again, why they rarely fall for the same lie twice. In 2026, this memory transforms from protection into precision. Taurus begins to act not from pain, but from clarity. They now understand that remembering the past is not weakness, it's strategy. And when everyone else is quick to forget, Taurus is the one who knows exactly what patterns to avoid, who to walk away from, and when to stay silent, because they've seen how the story ends before. Their memory isn't emotional baggage, it's emotional intelligence. It guides them, it shields them, and it becomes the quiet voice inside that says, "Not again." Life lesson wisdom isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering what it taught you without letting it turn you bitter. Comment if this resonates with your experience, and stay with me, because in the next insight, we'll uncover why Taurus silence isn't avoidance. It's sacred control. Psychological fact number 2. Taurus silence is not avoidance. It's sacred control. To outsiders, Taurus silence is confusing. They don't yell. They don't chase. They don't beg. They just get quiet. And in 2026, this silence becomes louder than ever. People misinterpret this stillness. They think Taurus doesn't care, that they've shut down. But what really happens is much more powerful. Taurus is processing. Unlike impulsive signs that react instantly, Taurus steps back to observe. They replay the moment. They check their emotions. They feel everything but reveal nothing. Psychologically, this is called emotional regulation, and Taurus excels at it. But it's not because they're cold or detached. It's because they understand that once a word is spoken, it can't be undone. Once trust is broken, it can't be rushed. So instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, Taurus chooses sacred control. They retreat, not to punish, but to protect the sacred space where their real emotions live. Because when Taurus finally speaks, it's not impulsive. It's a decision. In 2026, more people will misunderstand Taurus silence, just as they always have. But Taurus will no longer feel the need to explain it. They have learned that clarity often arrives in the quiet, that walking away without saying a word can speak louder than any argument, and that their silence is not weakness, it's power. Refined. Life lesson. Silence isn't worth, is it always absence? Sometimes it's the highest form of wisdom. Comment. If you've ever chosen silence over chaos. Next, let's explore how Taurus loyalty becomes a form of emotional discipline few people truly understand. Truly. Psychological fact number 3. Taurus loyalty is not a trait. It's emotional discipline. Loyalty for Taurus isn't just about being faithful. It's about being responsible with their emotional energy. In 2026, this loyalty becomes sharper, more refined, and more selective than ever. To the average person, loyalty seems like a virtue. But for Taurus, it's a lifestyle that demands consistency, trust, and deep alignment. They don't just show up for others, they embed themselves into people's lives. They carry memories, protect secrets, anticipate needs. But what most people never realize is how difficult this level of loyalty is. Because Taurus feels everything, and staying loyal even when they're tired, misunderstood, or hurt is not easy. It takes emotional discipline. They don't stay because it's convenient. They stay because they made a commitment. And Taurus doesn't make those lightly. Psychologically, this mirrors traits of secure attachment and high conscientiousness. But even deeper, it shows Taurus's spiritual coding. They are builders. Once they start something with you, they build it to last. But in 2026, something changes. Taurus is learning that loyalty must go both ways. They are no longer pouring energy into people who only receive. They are no longer staying out of habit or guilt or fear of starting over. They now understand that being loyal to the wrong person is a form of self-betrayal. And being loyal to yourself is the foundation for everything else. Life lesson: loyalty is sacred, but it must start with you. Don't pour your soul into people who can't hold it. Comment. If this is a lesson you had to learn the hard way. Next, we'll uncover why Taurus detachment is often misunderstood and how it protects their peace when no one else will. Psychological fact number 4. Taurus detachment is not coldness, it's energetic protection. There's a moment when Taurus switches off emotionally and it confuses everyone around them. They go from deeply invested to quietly withdrawn, from generous to silent, from warm to distant. This isn't bitterness, it's energetic protection. In 2026, this form of detachment becomes even more essential because Taurus is finally learning that not everyone deserves access to their emotional world. Taurus gives more than people realize. They don't just love, they invest. They memorize your habits, support your dreams, and absorb your pain. But when that energy is taken for granted, something inside them shuts down, not to punish, but to preserve. Psychologists might call this a coping mechanism, but for Taurus, it's survival. They don't believe in dramatics. They believe in protecting what they've built inside: their peace, their rhythm, their healing. And if that means pulling away to avoid being drained, they will. In 2026, Taurus learns to detach sooner. They no longer wait for someone to betray them twice. They read the signs. They sense the shift. And when necessary, they walk away emotionally first, physically later, because not every loss is worth grieving. Some are lessons. Some are closures. Some are spiritual release. Life lesson. Protecting your peace is not cruelty. It's maturity. Detachment isn't emotional failure. It's wisdom gained through experience. Comment. If you've ever had to detach just to protect your soul. Up next, we explore how Taurus intimacy is rare and why they treat emotional closeness as sacred. Psychological fact number 5. Taurus doesn't share their heart casually. Intimacy is a sacred exchange. If you've ever truly been close to a Taurus, you know this, their intimacy is never shallow. They may appear slow to open up, even reserved at first. But beneath that calm exterior is a depth of emotional intelligence that few ever get to touch. That's because for Taurus, intimacy is a sacred exchange, not a transaction. They don't seek surface-level affection. They crave emotional safety, trust, and something real. And until that space is earned, they'll keep their vulnerability locked away, hidden behind silence and subtle distance. In 2026, this becomes even clearer. Taurus begins to discern faster who's worthy of access and who isn't. They've been through enough to know that giving themselves too soon only leads to regret. They've seen how people misunderstand their stillness, their loyalty, their slowness. And so now they guard their energy with even greater care. But once they trust you, they love you like no one else can. They remember your details. They build a world with you. They share their quiet, and in that quiet, they give you everything. Psychologically, this ties to secure but selective attachment. Taurus bonds are slow-burning, but once formed, they're nearly unbreakable. And that's exactly why they take their time. Life lesson: not everyone deserves to know your soul. Real intimacy isn't fast. It's earned and protected. Comment if you've ever felt safest in someone's silence, not their words. Next, we'll explore Taurus and emotional boundaries, and why pressure only makes them resist harder. Psychological fact number 6. Taurus resists pressure, even when it comes from love. Want to push a Taurus away? Force them into something before they're ready. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Taurus psychology is their resistance to pressure. Whether it's emotional, romantic, or professional, if Taurus feels pushed, they'll dig in their heels, even if they agree with you, even if they love you. Why? Because Taurus doesn't react to urgency, they react to safety. In 2026, this truth becomes central to how Taurus navigates relationships and choices. They are no longer apologizing for their pace. They are no longer rushing decisions to make others comfortable. Taurus needs time to feel, to trust, to understand their own reaction before responding. If you try to rush this process, Taurus won't explode. They'll quietly pull away. And once that distance is created, it's hard to close again. This isn't defiance. It's rooted in their internal system, where control, safety, and autonomy are non-negotiable. Psychologically, this relates to high sensory processing sensitivity. Taurus processes deeply. That takes time. And when people ignore that, they feel emotionally unsafe. In 2026, Taurus is reclaiming their right to move slowly, even in a fast world. They are setting boundaries not to punish, but to protect the rhythm that keeps them grounded. Life lesson: the right decision is never made under pressure. And true love never demands speed, it waits for trust. Comment if you've ever been misunderstood just for needing time. Up next, we explore why Taurus stubbornness is often mistaken for ego, when it's really a form of spiritual conviction. Psychological fact number 7. Taurus. Stubbornness is not ego, it's spiritual conviction. They say Taurus is the most stubborn sign. But what few understand is this: Taurus doesn't cling to opinions, they commit to truths they've tested. In 2026, their so-called stubbornness is no longer something they feel the need to explain. It becomes their quiet, spiritual armor. Taurus doesn't change their mind easily because they've already done the thinking. They've sat with the situation in silence. They've played out the outcomes imagined, the consequences felt, every emotional nuance. So when they choose a path, it isn't random. It's rooted. It's earned. People mistake this for pride, but it's something deeper: conviction. Psychologically, Taurus exhibits high cognitive consistency, meaning once their internal logic aligns with their emotions, they're nearly impossible to move. But here's the thing. If they're wrong and they discover it through experience, they'll shift. Not because you pressured them, but because they found a new truth that rings deeper. In 2026, Taurus no longer apologizes for being slow to change. They understand that grounded beliefs can't be shaken by every opinion in the room. They know their stillness is misunderstood in a world addicted to speed and noise. But they weren't born to bend easily. They were born to hold the line when no one else can. Life lesson. There is power in knowing what you believe and peace in not needing others to agree. Comment. If you've ever been called stubborn just for standing in your truth. Up next, why Taurus isn't materialistic. They're building a sanctuary for their nervous system. Psychological fact number 8. Taurus isn't materialistic. They're creating nervous system safety. Let's correct one of the most common myths. Taurus isn't obsessed with money or luxury. They're obsessed with feeling safe. And in 2026, their relationship with the material world becomes clearer to themselves and to others. Taurus isn't chasing wealth to impress. They're building a world where they can breathe. Soft lighting, calming colors, high-quality food. A home that feels like protection, not just shelter. A bed that holds them when no one else can. Psychologically, this connects with somatic grounding, the use of physical comfort to regulate emotional stress. Taurus is ruled by the earth, and their body responds to environments deeply. That's why they're so sensitive to atmosphere, texture, tone, and energy. When the world is chaotic, Taurus needs grounding. And that grounding often looks like simplicity, beauty, and comfort. They're not hoarders. They're caretakers of their nervous system. In 2026, Taurus is learning to honor this without shame. To say no to environments that disturb their peace. To invest in spaces that support their inner healing. Their love for material things isn't greed. It's emotional design. And when Taurus feels safe, everyone around them does too. Life lesson. The space you create around you becomes the reflection of your inner peace. Make it sacred. Comment. If you've ever needed a calm space just to feel like yourself again. Next, we uncover why Taurus doesn't show their pain and how their quiet strength masks hidden wounds. Psychological fact. Number 9. Taurus doesn't show pain, but their wounds run deep. You won't always see it. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the disappointment. Taurus doesn't parade their pain. They carry it quietly like a stone in their chest that no one else can see. But make no mistake, they feel it. Deeply, silently, constantly. In 2026, Taurus is still learning that hiding pain isn't always strength. But it's how they've survived. Because every time they let someone see their wounds, someone used it against them. So now they smile. They stay steady. They keep functioning. While inside, they're analyzing, grieving, rebuilding alone. Psychologically, this connects to internalized emotion, suppression, a trait Taurus often develops from early emotional disappointments. They learned that expressing pain brought misunderstanding or rejection, so they turned inward. But in 2026, there's a shift. Taurus begins to explore safe expression. They begin to understand that sharing with the right people isn't weakness. It's connection. That showing their pain doesn't make them less strong. It makes them more human. Still don't expect tears. Expect stillness. Expect wisdom. Expect the kind of strength that comes not from avoiding pain, but surviving it. Life lesson. You never know what someone's carrying silently. Be gentle. The strongest people are often the ones healing in silence. Comment. If you've ever felt strong on the outside but broken on the inside. Coming up next. Taurus and forgiveness, why it's not impossible, but it must be earned. Psychological fact number 10. Taurus forgives slowly, but when they do, it's real. Forgiveness isn't easy for Taurus. Not because they're vengeful, but because they take betrayal personally. In 2026, this internal struggle between pain and peace becomes more defined. Taurus wants to forgive, but they need to feel that the apology is real, that the lesson was understood, and that the relationship will never go back to what broke them. They don't forgive just to move on. They forgive to transform the dynamic, or they don't forgive at all. Psychologically, Taurus carries what's called value integrity conflict. When their deeply held standards are violated, it creates an internal fracture that isn't easy to repair, especially when the betrayal came from someone they once protected. And so they wait. They observe. They measure your behavior in silence. Words mean little. Consistency means everything. In 2026, Taurus evolves this process. They stop waiting for people to change and start forgiving for their own peace. But make no mistake, this doesn't mean reconciliation. Taurus can forgive you and never let you back in. Because for them, forgiveness is not about forgetting the past. It's about releasing the weight of it and rebuilding a life where that pain no longer defines their choices. Life lesson: forgiveness doesn't always come with a reunion. Sometimes it's the quiet closure you give yourself. Comment if you've ever forgiven someone, but chose never to reopen that door. Next, we dive into why Taurus loves differently with slow-burning intensity that few can handle. Psychological fact number 11. Taurus doesn't love fast, but they love forever. You won't feel the fireworks right away. You won't see grand gestures. You might even wonder if they feel anything at all. But Taurus love is slow-burning, steady, and deeply anchored. In 2026, this becomes even more true. Taurus no longer chases intensity. They build something lasting. Their love is often misunderstood because it doesn't look like chaos. It looks like presence, like listening, like doing small things every day that say you matter to me. Psychologically, Taurus tends towards secure attachment with a need for emotional rhythm. They love in patterns, not in spikes. They remember what you like. They protect what you value. They don't overwhelm you. They ground you. But that same slow pace can confuse those looking for instant chemistry. What they miss is this: if Taurus lets you in, they've already imagined protecting you. They've already decided they'd walk through fire for you. They just won't say it yet because for Taurus, words come after action. In 2026, Taurus stops apologizing for being careful. They know their love is rare, and they know that those who wait long enough to feel it never forget it. Life lesson fast. Love often fades, but the kind that takes its time, that's the kind that builds kingdoms. Comment if you've ever felt love grow slowly but stay for years. Next, we reveal why Taurus seems distant in conflict and how it's their way of keeping control over their emotions. Psychological fact number 12. Taurus withdraws during conflict, not to avoid, but to stabilize. When things get tense, Taurus doesn't raise their voice. They lower their presence. They become quiet, unreadable still. And in 2026, this tendency becomes even more refined because Taurus finally understands that not all battles are worth reacting to in real time. Psychologically, this is a form of emotional containment where Taurus protects their nervous system by retreating instead of escalating. It's not avoidance, it's stabilizing. Taurus knows their strength, and they know if they say the wrong thing in the heat of emotion, they'll regret it forever. So they pause. They breathe. They go inside themselves, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, and people get confused. They think Taurus is cold or punishing. But really, Taurus is trying to avoid doing damage. They're trying to return to love without destroying trust in the process. In 2026, Taurus is more aware of how sacred their peace is. They're learning how to communicate better, but on their own terms. Not every fight deserves their full energy. Not every opinion deserves a response. They no longer chase approval during conflict. They seek understanding. And if they don't find it, they quietly protect their boundaries. Life lesson. Sometimes silence in conflict isn't avoidance. It's wisdom holding back a storm. Comment. If you've ever had to retreat from an argument just to keep your soul intact. Next, we reveal how Taurus deals with jealousy and why it's rooted in love, not control. Psychological fact number 13. Taurus jealousy comes from depth, not possession. Jealousy in Taurus is often misunderstood. People think it's about control, but in truth, it comes from depth of emotional investment. When Taurus loves, they love fully. They don't keep backup plans. They don't entertain what-ifs. They commit mind, body, and soul. So when something threatens that bond, even subtly, it activates their protective instincts. In 2026, Taurus begins to understand this response more clearly. They realize that jealousy isn't a flaw in them. It's a signal, a sign that something they value feels at risk. Psychologically, this reflects attachment-based vigilance, a behavior seen in people who form deeply rooted emotional ties. Taurus doesn't get jealous because they're insecure. They get jealous because they care more than they show. But here's the shift. In 2026, Taurus is learning how to communicate their feelings before the jealousy becomes a wall. They're learning to say, "This makes me feel unsafe," instead of pulling away or growing cold. Because for Taurus, the goal was never to control someone. It was to protect something sacred. Their trust, their space, their sense of emotional safety. Life lesson. Jealousy isn't always a weakness. Sometimes it's love asking to be reassured. Comment. If you've ever felt jealousy not out of fear, but out of deep care. Next, we explore Taurus selectivity and why gaining their trust is a slow but sacred process. Psychological fact number 14. Taurus doesn't let people in easily because their loyalty is sacred. Taurus doesn't have a wide circle. They have a fortress. And not everyone gets through the gates. In 2026, this becomes more intentional than ever. Taurus no longer entertains energy that feels unstable, inconsistent, or opportunistic. They've learned that every connection is an energetic contract, and once they let someone in, they give everything. Time, energy, patience, and love. So they've become selective, not out of pride, but out of emotional wisdom. Psychologically, this relates to high emotional filtering, the ability to scan for sincerity before investing. Taurus watches people quietly. They notice your tone, your timing, your truth. They don't need to ask much, they feel it. And once they let you in, you'll have something rare. A friend, a lover, a protector. Someone who remembers your story and keeps your secrets safe. But cross a boundary, betray their trust, or bring chaos into their world, and you'll find yourself locked out again, not with drama, but with silence. In 2026, Taurus is protecting their energy as fiercely as they protect their home. Because their loyalty is not random, it's earned and given with purpose. Life lesson. Your energy is sacred. Don't let just anyone have access to it. Comment. If you've ever been careful about who you trust, and it saved you. Next, we look at Taurus and emotional memory and why they never forget how you made them feel. Psychological fact number 15. Taurus doesn't forget feelings. They store them like lessons. You may forget what you said. You may forget how you acted. But Taurus never forgets how you made them feel. That moment you broke their trust. That night they stayed up wondering if you really cared. That silence that cut deeper than any argument. In 2026, this emotional memory becomes one of Taurus's greatest tools for clarity. Not for holding grudges, but for understanding patterns. Taurus is emotionally intelligent in a quiet, long-term way. They don't just remember the facts. They remember the emotional imprint you left behind. Psychologically, this is called affective recall, the ability to store feelings and to call them as reference points for future decisions. And Taurus has mastered this. It's why they hesitate around certain people, why they grow distant without explaining, why they don't fall for sweet words the second time around. Because they felt something once and they promised themselves never to feel it again. In 2026, Taurus is honoring these emotional bookmarks. They're using them to navigate relationships with more discernment and strength. They no longer gaslight themselves into forgetting. They remember, and they move accordingly. Life lesson. If something made you feel small, unseen, or unsafe, you don't need to revisit it to prove you've healed. Sometimes remembering is the healing. Comment if you've ever trusted your emotional memory and it guided you right. Up next, Taurus and overthinking, why they struggle to rest until everything feels resolved. Psychological fact number 16. Taurus can't rest until there's resolution. Their mind craves closure. To the outside world, Taurus looks calm. But inside, their mind is constantly sorting, analyzing, rechecking, especially when something feels unresolved. In 2026, this internal drive for emotional and situational closure becomes more intense. Taurus doesn't like unfinished conversations. They don't do well with vague promises, silent tension, or people who disappear without explanation. Their mind doesn't just let it go, it loops until the pattern makes sense. Psychologically, this links to high conscientiousness and emotional tracking. Taurus wants to understand. They want to fix. They want to know what went wrong, not for control, but for peace. They often replay events in their mind, not to blame anyone, but to find the lesson. What did I miss? Was there a sign? Could I have done something different? But here's the danger. In 2026, Taurus is learning that not everything can be resolved. Some people won't explain. Some endings won't come with closure. And that's not a failure. It's just reality. The breakthrough Taurus stops needing others to give them closure and starts giving it to themselves. They no longer wait for the apology, the explanation, the reason. They understand that peace is something you choose, not something you're handed. Life lesson. Closure doesn't always come from others. Sometimes it's a conversation you have with yourself in silence. Comment if you've ever had to give yourself the ending someone else refused to give you. Next, we explore Taurus resilience and why nothing breaks them for long. Psychological fact. Number 17. Taurus may break down, but they never stay broken. Taurus doesn't fall apart easily, but when they do, it's silent, private, and profound. The world may never see it, but inside they've crumbled. They've questioned everything. They've stared at the ceiling at 2 a.m. wondering how to begin again. And yet they always do. In 2026, this resilience becomes more visible than ever. Because Taurus is not just surviving. They're rebuilding with new strength and clarity. Psychologically, Taurus reflects high post-traumatic growth. They don't just recover, they evolve. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every heartbreak becomes a boundary. Every breakdown becomes a quiet vow to never return to that same version of themselves. They may cry in private. They may isolate for a while. But when they return, they come back wiser, calmer, more rooted in who they are. In 2026, Taurus is no longer ashamed of what broke them. They see it as the soil where their new life grew. They don't need the world to see their process. They just need to know they're stronger than the last time they were tested. Life lesson. Falling apart isn't the end. It's often the beginning of your next chapter. Comment if you've ever rebuilt yourself silently, stronger than anyone expected. Next, we reveal why Taurus keeps their inner world so private and why their solitude is sacred. Psychological fact. Number 18, Taurus keeps their inner world private because solitude is sacred. Taurus doesn't share everything they feel, not because they're closed off, but because they believe not everyone deserves access. In 2026, their need for emotional privacy becomes deeper and more intentional. Taurus can be warm, affectionate, and present, but when it comes to their innermost thoughts, their fears, their healing process, they keep it close. This isn't secrecy, it's self-protection. Psychologically, this connects to emotional boundary preservation, the ability to distinguish between what should be processed internally versus externally. Taurus processes inwardly first. They need space, silence, and solitude to understand what they feel. They don't overshare. They don't vent to just anyone. They speak when they've made peace with what they're about to say. In 2026, Taurus learns to trust this even more. They stop apologizing for needing space. They stop explaining why they go quiet, because they understand that their solitude is a sacred room where their intuition speaks loudest. They're not hiding. They're healing in their own way. Life lesson. Everyone needs to understand your process. Healing is personal. Privacy is power. Comment. If you've ever grown stronger in silence, not in noise. Next, we enter the final 2 psychological truths, and they reveal why Taurus is feared, respected, and unforgettable. Psychological fact number 19. Taurus is feared for the same reason they're respected. Their calm is unshakable. There's something unnerving about Taurus. When they've made up their mind, they don't argue. They don't explain. They don't threaten. They just decide, and everything shifts. In 2026, this energy becomes more visible. Taurus isn't loud, but their stillness carries weight. This is the moment when people start to realize Taurus doesn't need approval to act. They don't need permission to detach. And once they're done, they're done. Psychologically, this reflects internal locus of control, the belief that one's own choices shape their life. Taurus isn't reactive. They're rooted. They don't act to be seen. They act because it's aligned with their values. And that's what makes them so powerful. You never know when they'll make the move. You'll never see it coming. But when it happens, it's final. In 2026, Taurus is reclaiming this power with clarity. No more second guessing. No more internal debate about whether they're too much. They've earned the right to protect their peace, and they don't need to explain it. Life lesson. Isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to choose yourself without apology. Comment. If you've ever made a silent decision that changed everything. Now, let's reveal the final truth, the deepest psychological force that defines Taurus in 2026. Psychological fact number 20. Taurus is possessive of people and things because they value what others take for granted. To understand Taurus, you have to understand this. They don't attach lightly, so when they do, to a person, a home, a dream, a memory, it's sacred, and anything sacred must be protected. In 2026, this protective instinct sharpens. Not because Taurus is becoming more possessive, but because they're more aware of how often people use what they didn't build. Taurus doesn't hold on because they're controlling. They hold on because they nurtured what now exists. They invested in it, gave life to it, grew it from seed. So yes, they feel possessive, but not out of ego, out of love. Psychologically, this stems from strong emotional object permanence. Taurus doesn't detach easily because everything they hold has meaning. They're not just holding things, they're holding energy history art. In 2026, Taurus learns to balance this instinct. They begin releasing what no longer returns their energy, but they still guard what matters, because they know how rare it is to find something real in a world full of short attention spans. They don't want everything. just the few things that feel like home. Life lesson: you're allowed to protect what you've built. Possession isn't always greed. Sometimes it's a form of devotion. Comment: if you've ever loved something so deeply, you couldn't help but protect it. Now let's close this journey with one final reflection. Closing. Final reflection and life wisdom. You've just walked through the inner architecture of Taurus, not the stereotypes, not the surface traits, but the emotional engine that drives their loyalty, silence, memory, boundaries, love, and resilience. In 2026, Taurus isn't changing, they're being revealed. The world is finally starting to see that behind the calm is calculation. Behind the silence is sensitivity. Behind the loyalty is pain turned into purpose. Taurus isn't just a zodiac sign. It's a force of emotional truth in a world full of noise. They remember, they protect, they rebuild, they choose, and they do it all without asking to be seen, because they know that true strength is often misunderstood. This year, if you're a Taurus, trust your slowness, honor your silence, protect your energy, and never forget, you are not too much. You are the anchor in a world adrift. Comment below. Which of these psychological truths did you feel in your bones? And if you're not a Taurus, which one helped you understand them better? Thank you for being here. You've just witnessed the mind of Taurus, as it truly is. Subscribe to the eternal flame of Taurus and keep walking this path of truth with us.